Today we're going to talk about squat. Squat is the king exercise to grow your legs. Let me tell you why squat is so important. To me, squat is important because it's a complete exercise. Even if I'm training my legs, my whole body is working. Why? Because your bar is on your back, and then you need to stabilize yourself when you're doing the movement. So we're not just doing a single leg exercise where we isolate in the quads, like let's say leg press or leg extension, but squat is involving all the stabilizing muscle. We're involving the glutes, we're involving our back, we're involving our hamstrings, we're involving our quads itself, we're involving sometimes our calves. So we're involving everything related to the muscle area that we're working, and that actually equates to a better, bigger overall physique. Squat is one of the best exercises for legs if it's done right. Because if you do it wrong, one, it's not of any benefit of your legs, and two, you risk to get injured so easily. It's really easy to get injured because, of course, it's a free exercise. So you're not using any machine, you actually need to balance yourself with your body, and you need to actually be clever when you're using a bar. The right way to do it is to put your bar on your traps, flex your traps, keep your chest high, try to actually see your chest all the way down and all the way up through the movement. So I always think about looking at my chest for the whole movement while I'm squatting on the mirror, so I know that I'm not arching my back. Secondly, your back needs to be straight. I don't want anything like this, because of course they're supporting the bar, and your back needs to be stronger, because if you're arching your back, the whole weight is not going on your muscle, but it's actually forcing on your bones and on your joints, and that's really painful and can cause injuries. Try to get your hips backward and try to sit on an imaginary chair, right? In that way, your back needs to be stronger and straight. Think about your knees as on a line with your ankles and with your shoulders. So I always try to get my knees on the same line on my feet when I go down, when I come up. Never move your knees for any reason, and you're always pushing the weight with your quads. All right, guys, so these are the most common mistakes people do while doing squat. First one is lifting your heels when you go down. It's really important to keep your heels on the ground for the whole time of the movement. Some people just leave their heels, one, maybe because they have stiff ankles or stiff hips, and secondly, because maybe they feel that they actually can lift the weight better because they're not balancing themselves. So use less weight, but don't leave those heels on the ground. You can actually go a bit higher, not go as low as you're going, until you actually reach that point where you can perform a better movement. I don't want you to lift your heels because the weight is shifting from being lifted from your muscle to being actually on your joints, like on your knees. So your knees are not as strong as your quads. So if you leave the heels, we're actually gonna drop the weight on your joints. And of course, that's a big risk of injury for you, and it's not helping your quads at all. And the second mistake is to round your back. So many people arch their back while they go down, and that's one of the most common mistakes I see in gyms. It might help you like in the short term, but in the long term you're gonna actually have a lot of back pains, and it's not productive at all. When I learned how to squat, it took me 3 or 4 months to learn the proper technique just with an empty bar, and I advise you to do the same. Get an empty bar, get a lightweight, try to start with a slow movement, get into the mentality of the right technique, and then you can add weight as fast as you want. The third common mistake is not going low enough as the grass. We need to actually try to go as low as we can. Why? Because we're stretching the muscle more, we're involving more muscle, because after we pass that 90-degree position, our hamstrings and glutes are actually more engaged and working to push the weight back up. So if you're actually free of any injuries from your knees, I actually advise you to go as low as you can to have a nice squat and to actually grow your legs better and fuller. If you have knees problems, I would advise you to stop at a 90 degrees angle, but don't go higher than that. There's so many people, they load the weight too much and they just go for a little range of motion. Range of motion is so important because your muscle needs to work fully. So your quads, they need to start from the starting position, they need to go all the way down 90 degrees or less, and then come up again. That's a full rep. Don't cut the rep, don't cut through the rep just to finish your workout quickly or to lift more weight. Do the way you're comfortable with and just do the proper movement. Your legs will work so much better. The fourth most common mistake is the bar position. So many people, they put in the bar on their neck. I don't want you to put that bar on your spine. If you think about that, if you lift 100, 150, 120 kilos, that's a lot of weight on your spine, and that doesn't do any good to your physique and to your bones. The proper bar position is on your traps. So if we're keeping your hands close enough, you can actually feel that you're contracting your traps. Never put the bar on your neck, guys, because that's just the wrong way to do it, and it doesn't do any good to you. Please remember to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and put a nice comment to the video. Even if you have any other doubts about other mistakes that you might have seen or you might have done during squat, just leave a comment and I'll be happy to clarify that for you. The next exercise we're going to talk about is going to be deadlift. Subscribe to the channel to check it out.
BioTechUSA, the feeling of success. For more inspiration, follow us on Facebook and Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and visit our website